Welcome back to another Mackem in the Middle podcast after another Sunderland game, another Sunderland home game, another performance which will spark a few talking points, but moreover, another 3 points and another game unbeaten. So we'll talk about all that. Michael and Dan are with me to talk about it. And I'm going to start with the same sentence that I started against Fleetwood, Michael. What a shit game.
I can't follow that. I can't follow that, but I'm going to have to, aren't I? For 80 minutes, the performance was, well, you said 84 minutes actually before we came on air. 84 minutes, it was dire. And I would say that out of the games that, I don't know what you think, but out of the games that where we've won, that's comfortably been the worst performance I've seen. We've seen a lot of games where we scraped wins 1-0. You look, for example, we beat Wimbledon 1-0. We've beaten, I think in the first and this season, we beat Wimbledon 1-0 both times. I think both times we comfortably played better than what we did yesterday. Yesterday was just lacking urgency, intensity, to an extent. I would say desire. I think there was a number of players there that was still, what's the phrase, shirking a little bit. I don't know whether they were just feeling the pressure when we didn't get an early goal, and then obviously, as you know, if we don't score early, then the crowd starts to get a bit restless, and rightly so, because these are games that we should be winning if we're wanting to have any chance of going up, by whatever means this season. But in fairness, two great moments, a moment of quality and a good run from Patrick Roberts seals it in the end. So, look, I mean, this says alone. I was that angry at the performance at the time that I didn't go mental when the 2 goals were scored, because I felt, no, we should be playing a lot better than this. And without trying to sound like a dickhead towards Crewe, I think their fans travelled up in good numbers. That, for me, is the worst team I've seen us play since coming into League One, and if they continue that, I've got no doubt in my mind they'll be getting relegated and in rock bottom as well. And well, I'm sure we'll get onto the lovely time-wasting tactics yet again, basically the sequel to Fleetwood. But yeah, the game was shit. Just sum up in your words.
I'll give you another simple question as well, Dan. Was that worse than Fleetwood, the game?
Yeah, it's got to be. Because, I mean, I was there at Crewe earlier in the season when we battered them 5-0.
It was 4-0, wasn't it?
More or less the same team, more or less the same style of play from Crewe, just their shithouse, time-wasting tactics, trying to just try to get that ball away from their net as far and as much as possible. But we played right into their hands. Every time we got the ball, we'd play it back to Bailey, right? And he'd hoof it 50 yards up. And you saw towards the end of the game as well, before Jermaine Defoe came off, he just decided to stop running because of this constant hoofball. The referee wasn't giving any decisions. And then every time we got the ball, we'd hoof it long. And Jermaine can't really do much. Yeah, he got up for a couple of headers and actually won against the centre-backs, but that's not how he suited, and it looked like he gave up because he was that frustrated. It was a really painful watch, but we got a result.
We did. And I suppose at this point of the season, that is the most important thing. Although there is still need to be improvements. Michael, we'll get on a time wasting because we'll get the rant out of the way first.
Oh, believe me, there will be a rant.
It is the most, it's the most frustrating thing in the world, because every team, bar none, really, come to the Stadium of Light and do the exact same thing. And it's something that I've never really understood, because if you look at some of the teams that have done it, and I think Crewe probably a good example of it, Fleetwood probably the same, if they just play for the win, we looked so vulnerable yesterday. There's nothing to say if Crewe wouldn't have come away with 3 points had they actually tried to play football.
No, definitely. I still believe the team we've got is good enough to win most home games, but we have been vulnerable. I mean, at the same time, I can't remember anyone coming to the Stadium of Light and particularly blowing us away. I don't think anyone's come up, and whether that's down to approach. I
think the only team that I've seen at the Stadium of Light that I was like, okay, yeah, you're a good team, was Bolton. And I said that at the time.
Yeah, actually,
and then obviously
I agree there.
We got battered off from away as well.
Yeah, well, I think, and by the way, this is include Rotherham in this. Of all the teams I've watched play against, I think Bolton have comfortably been the best team that I've watched.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say Rotherham, but I honestly felt we were just that shocking that day that I didn't think Rotherham had that much to beat. But it's not their problem, to be fair. But back to your original point, yeah, Crewe. Yeah, the time wasting thing. Everyone knows by now I hate it, and I do. And I've said it in the past that as annoying as I find it, I understand if Crewe had took the lead and it was coming to the 85th minute and they were time wasting like they were throughout the whole game, I could understand it. I'd be infuriated with watching it that the referee wouldn't do anything about it, but I would understand it because it makes sense. You're 1-0 up in any game, to be honest, with so many minutes to go, few minutes to go, it's fine to run the clock down. I can understand that. But literally, when a team comes up here from the third minute, well, basically the first 5 minutes, you could tell in the first couple of minutes, whenever they got the ball, whenever they got a touch of the ball, they either hoofed it away as quickly as possible or they managed to win themselves a throw in, take 30 seconds to take it, take 30 seconds, exact same thing with Fleetwood, and take a goal kick as well. And the thing that annoyed me, the thing that frustrated me probably more than that was, and if Crewe can get away with it, they know they're going to do it, fair enough. But the referee let them time waste about 5 or 10 times. Then he told the goalkeeper to hurry up. Then he went back to allowing it had to happen again.
I think in the last 2 games, well, there's definitely been 180 minutes of time wasting, and there's been 1 yellow card. I think
exactly.
There was 1
and
yellow
I bet
card.
and that yellow card, I'm sure, went to us, didn't it? When we were time wasting, when we were ahead.
Probably. There was 1 Crewe player booked. I remember taking a throw in halfway line, and I think it was the one time that he wasn't actually taking too long, and he got booked for time wasting. But that was one that I definitely remember.
Yeah.
And I think that is the only one out of the 2 games where they've actually been booked, despite literally wasting time for 180 minutes between the 2.
Exactly. But it goes back to the common theme where referees don't do anything about it. They don't. And I think someone responded to me on Twitter, and I think this is fully spot on. I think that the referee, if they see someone time wasting persistently in the first 15 minutes, give cards out because it means they will not do it.
Just ruins the game as well, like for everyone. It's like I think it was Fleetwood fans were saying it themselves, like, why are we doing this? Why are we time wasting? Like, this isn't fun to watch. It just ruins the game for so many different reasons.
Exactly. Like I said, I can understand it if I could get Fleetwood doing it to a point, to a degree, because they actually had a lead to protect. But what with Crewe, I mean, I think I might have overheard a Crewe fan walking past me while I was getting ready to do my own YouTube video yesterday after the game and saying the time wasting just really annoys me. He used a bit more colourful language than that, but it basically was the same gist. He didn't like the time wasting at all. But like I said with the referee, he let it happen, then told them off once, then let it happen numerous times again, then book someone. No, mate, if you're going to tell someone off for time wasting, don't contradict yourself 2 minutes later and then let them time waste about 10 occasions. And in Crewe's situation, they need wins if they want to have any hope of staying up. And I'm convinced that if that's how the rest of their season's going to go, they're gone and they're going to finish comfortably rock bottom at that. Then they need to get wins. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. I get to a degree again, teams coming up to time waste, but this is one of the biggest reasons that I want to get out of this league, because in the Championship, I'm almost certain we wouldn't get anywhere near as much of this. I bet you would get teams coming up here to actually try and play football and actually try, and within reason, time waste if you're winning, fine, but not from the 3rd minute. Come on, this league. This goes back to what I'm saying. This league is garbage. Everyone can say, "Oh, League One's a good league." No, it's not. It's shit. It's competitive, but it's shit. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, the standard is certainly something to be desired. Referee Dan throughout the game was very poor, and I think he was for both sides. To be honest, I think there was multiple fouls that we gave away that weren't given, multiple fouls that they'd given away that weren't given, and I think we were denied a penalty in the second half when Stewart literally had his shirt nearly ripped off his back, wasn't given. The one decision in the game that I actually think was the right one was a decision that you just never see get given. When the keeper has the ball in his hands, I'm not sure on the exact time, but I'm pretty sure it's a 7-second rule. And as far as I'm aware, that is still a thing. Otherwise, there's nothing stopping the keeper just holding the ball for 90 minutes. And obstruction is kind of coming into play there as well. But there was one point in the game where the keeper had the ball, and I think I counted 16 seconds. He had the ball in his hands. Ross Stewart was maybe 3, 4, 5 yards away, not impeding him at all. He was trying to make a claim to the referee that, he couldn't kick it because Stewart was there. He kept moving in the way of Stewart. Eventually, the referee blew up, give an indirect free kick. And I think that is the first time I've ever seen the referee give that decision, which, like I say, is the right decision.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do we have to have this conversation whilst we're in these divisions? The standard of refereeing is absolutely shocking, and it looks like we're just seeing it get worse and worse over the weeks. Not just Sunderland, across the 4 EFL leagues. the standard is slipping, and we're seeing it even more.
Yeah, and just to put in there about the refereeing as well. I don't know if you've seen it. Did you see the Barnsley Fulham game? Either of you?
Yeah,
No, are you referring to the penalty Barnes?
I am. Yeah.
Yes, I haven't seen the game, but I did see the clip of that
yeah,
incident.
I think that just sums it up.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you saw today, Adam put on Twitter of the Luton QPR game where their centre back plays a long ball down the line, and the linesman stood on the pitch and gives a throw into QPR, and it hits him. So it just shows that the standard is getting even worse. And I don't know what signal God sent that referee yesterday to give that indirect free kick, but the fact that that's the first time that that's ever happened is something that you could probably just laugh about at this point. Because even though it is hampering every single game, at the end of the season, it could be the difference between a promotion or a relegation. And we've got this standard of refereeing, and we happen to get to the playoff final. We have to hope and pray that the referee it can at least do maybe 30 minutes of officiating well. Otherwise, it could cost anyone, and it could cost anyone a lot of money. So something needs to change. We have this conversation every week, every day about these referees, and I don't know why nothing's changed, but it's getting a joke now.
Sorry, just to build on that as well. And we're not saying this to be fickle, are we? Because we're talking about this. Well, the last two pods we've done, the Fleetwood one and this one, we're talking about the referees ridiculously in games we've won. So that alone tells you how.
I think you can make a podcast with 24 fans from the 24 clubs in this league, and I think every single fan would say the same thing.
Absolutely, and the thing is, a big problem they've got is they seem to go that bad. They seem to officiate the match that poorly that when it hits that 70-minute mark or 75 minutes, then they just start giving yellow cards out to everyone.
Yeah.
Like the amount of fouls that could have been yellow cards before that, there could have been penalties, etc. Especially in yesterday's game, and then all of a sudden he's just giving yellow cards out left, right, and centre. I just don't understand it. Like you saw on the Crewe page, the Crewe Twitter page yesterday when they were doing their updates, that they even called the referee card happy, and it's just getting a joke now. I remember what game was it?
Wimbledon.
Wimbledon, where
Yeah.
13 or 14 yellow cards. And it's like that every week because the referees just have had that poor of a game. They're trying to do something to show that they're like tough and a good referee, and then it just goes all wrong.
Yeah. Well, time wasting out the way, refereeing out the way, Michael. Like I said, the performance was absolutely shocking, and I think Neil was a little bit too protective of it this time in his interview after the game. Because, like we said, I think it was probably worse than the Fleetwood performance. Again, taking into account the Crewe bottom of the league. God knows what dreadful streak they were on going into the game, but you could almost guarantee that it wasn't going to be a straightforward win for Sunderland. But he made changes. Fair play to him. He did the same against Fleetwood. That ended up winning us the game. Going into the game, he made changes as well. That didn't quite work out yesterday. But the subs that he brought on, Dan Neil, Diaku, and Roberts, all came on within, the hour mark, which again, it's something that we haven't done enough of recently. And had Johnson or whoever been in charge of that game, you're probably not going to win the game because you're reluctant to change it. But he changed it early, and they changed the game once again, the subs.
Exactly. And proactive management is something that I've been crying out for ages, when a manager can spot that something isn't working. And one of my biggest pet peeve, one of my many pet peeves in football, to be honest, is when a head coach or a manager can see that it's evident as day something is not working, and they make changes, but they wait until the 76th minute to make the first one. And by that point, there's not much time for the subs to make an actual impact on the game to try and get the result. Yeah. So this time, the fact that, as you alluded to, he got 3 subs on pretty much at latest just after 60 minutes, which meant that they had enough time to try and impose their authority on the game, which ended up working. It nearly didn't work, but nevertheless, it did happen. And you're far better off having a head coach or a manager that makes the mistake but then rectifies it, rather than make the mistake but then stick by what they're doing. We've seen it with Parkinson. We saw it with Jack Ross to a degree. We saw it with Lee Johnson to a lesser degree. And Alex Neil's willing to try and, he'll make the mistake, but he's acknowledged he made the mistake and brought players on to try and combat that mistake. So that sort of thing. And I'll tell you right now, if we get to somewhere like the playoff final, we obviously have to finish in the playoffs first. But if we did get the playoffs and got to the final, with Alex Neil there, I'd be more confident of going up, because he would be willing to see what isn't working and would be willing to try and change things, and especially do it in a proactive way before the game's gone from us.
Yeah. But it was Dan Neil that probably made the biggest impact when he came on, Dan. And obviously he's had a few weeks out of the team, so it's probably done them world good mentally and physically. He came on and certainly looked like the player that was getting interest of Aston Villa and Burnley and Celtic, whoever it was. He looked a lot better than he has in recent weeks.
Yeah, 100%. And what we've seen, I don't know how many people have picked up on this, but I definitely have. What we've seen since Alex Neil has come in is potentially a managerial masterclass, because week in, week out, we are seeing, say, Corey Evans on the team sheet.
I'm not sure that's a masterclass in my eyes, but I'll let you carry on.
We're seeing his name on the team sheet, and we all know that he shouldn't be on that team sheet. But what he's doing to the likes of Dan Neil is, we've got a generational talent on the bench, someone who can go on to play in the Premier League and play for England, etc. But giving him that mindset that your performance hasn't been good enough, Dan Neil will know himself. He is so much better than Corey Evans, and he deserves to be starting. He should be playing exactly where he is. But Alex Neil is stuck with Corey Evans to give that drive back to Dan Neil mentally.
Yeah.
I think, and you've seen it a couple with the centre backs as well. The change of Callum Doyle, Arby, and Bailey Wright, etc. Just having that competition and just not rotating it every week because of what's working, what's not, but just giving this hunger back into the younger players. Because I'm sure when we see Callum Doyle come back, he'll be a completely different player, and the player that we saw at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, he's been playing these players that those players on the bench think, I'm better than them, I should be starting, I can do more, I can affect the game more. And then when they come on, they've only got 20, 30 minutes to sort it out. So it's more urgent for them to do that. And because of that drive of, I want to start now, it's getting beyond a joke that, say, Corey Evans is starting every week. It's meaning that we're going to see the best players come the playoffs and come the end of the season. And I don't know if anyone picked up on that, but I think that's purely down to how Alex Neil has just got this mentality in the players from the get-go.
Yeah. And just on the goal, Michael, obviously it was Dan Neil who started it. Plays into Ross Stewart. Ross Stewart holds it up, plays it to Dan Neil. And again, there's not many players in the team will hit that first time and find the corner of the goal.
Exactly. And that comes, I think in a way, that comes down to just his own belief in his ability. And fair play to him, because that would took a lot of mental strength, because it was at the time of the game where I think either everyone was getting irate at the fact that we weren't beaten bottom of the league at home, or most people had resigned to the fact it was going to be a wasted opportunity in 0-0. So fair play to Dan Neil to step up and take that responsibility. Like I keep going back to as well, taking responsibility. Like you said, first time finish, and he hit it extremely accurately as well. Got it the right amount of spin, the right amount of pace on it to take it away from the keeper and to fly past everyone that was in the box.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you guys have touched on, Dan Neil, I think certainly a mentally recharged and refreshed Dan Neil could be a huge importance for us in the running.
Yeah. The second goal and first goal for Patrick Roberts since he signed for the club, Dan. Nice link up with Jack Clark, who I think, again, didn't have the best of games, but showed why, what he can bring to the team. And I think he's another player similar to McGeady, similar to many other players that we've got, that even on a bad day can make something happen. Plays 1-2 with Roberts. He gets inside. He's very agile. He can, move in between them tight spaces. Finishes very well, and capped off the win. And I was going to say capped off the good performance, but that wouldn't necessarily be correct. But it was an important goal. Won the game, and it'll give Roberts a big confidence boost as well.
Yeah, definitely. And we know that Roberts is a quality player. He's proved it at Celtic. He's proved it at Middlesbrough as well. And everywhere else he's gone on to play. And I don't know whether it was just like a lack of match fitness as to why he's not been playing more regularly. But you can see that the quality is there, and you can see that the hunger and desire is there. Like asking to play for the under 23s just so that he can get himself up to speed, etc. Just shows the mentality that the players have. And like you said, that goal will do him so good, especially in the manner that it was in, chasing sort of chasing to get the 3 points, and then putting the nail in the coffin will be a great goal for him. And it was a quality goal with the outside of his foot as well. And I just think now that he's got that first goal, the goal contributions will start coming. The Sorry, my mind's just gone. Yeah, contributions will start coming. The ability, the quality that he has will start to show on the pitch, and hopefully, we start to see him sort of flourish and take on more responsibility, which is what we need a player like him to be able to do.
Yeah.
Come the end of the season, come the playoffs, like we saw with McGeady.
Yeah. Well, player ratings we'll move into, and we'll try and battle through these quicker than we usually do, because we usually do deliberate quite a lot on these. Michael, start with you. Patterson had nothing to do in the game, but the bit that you did do, he did fairly well, so I'll just give him a 6.
6 as well. Can't follow that.
Yeah. Dan?
Yeah, I'd give him 6. Did everything he needed to.
Yep. Gooch started at wing back and didn't really have any end product at all in the game, I don't think. Worked hard, tried hard, but just one of them frustrating performances where he'll beat his man and want to beat him again and again and again, and then ultimately lose the ball. So 5, Michael.
5. Sorry, Kyle. I'm trying not to hammer him too much. But, yeah, you can tell the effort and endeavours there, but I think that was the wrong game to start him. I could maybe get it starting him. I could maybe understand starting him away at Lincoln more than I could at home to Crewe, just because I think away from home, I think his work rate will actually give us something better. But at home, against bottom of the league, wrong game for me to start him. But he tried hard, so 5.
Yeah, done.
Oh, I don't know. I'd give him maybe a 6 or a 7 because I thought even he did get taken off, and a lot of things weren't working for him. But he was one of the few that were actually trying to pull the game by the scruff of its neck and try and get something turning. I'd give him a 6.5 because I just think he's improved so much since the start, and we're really starting to see it.
Fair enough. Winchester, 6 again, Michael. Did everything well at the back, didn't do anything particularly wrong, I don't think. And I think having him as part of a back three is quite useful because he is quicker than the centre backs that we've got at the club currently. But again, did nothing wrong, so 6.
Standard 6. Didn't have as much to work, didn't have as much to defend, but you can only do what's in front of you, so 6.
Yeah, done.
I'd say maybe a 5 because when he got forward, he got into some really good positions on the right wing, but his crossing ability was abysmal.
Yeah,
maybe a 5. Normally it's good, but yesterday it was just a bit poor.
Yeah. Bailey Wright, Michael's favourite. I would probably go with a 7 or an 8, probably for Bailey Wright. I thought out of the defenders and probably out of the players was probably our best player. Up until we made the subs, obviously. But, he made some big challenges, some important challenges and blocks. Position was good. And again, I can't really remember him doing anything particularly wrong or anything that led to anything that shouldn't have. I think there was maybe one pass in the early stages of the game that kind of went away. But other than that, I thought he had a very good game. So I'd probably go between a 7 and an 8, Michael.
I would probably go with a 7. The only thing, as you know, he is definitely my favourite player in the squad at the minute. The only thing I thought he did that did frustrate me a few times was that he kept on trying the Hollywood long balls.
Yeah.
And a large part of that is probably down to the fact that no one else was doing anything in front of him, so I might be a bit lenient with that. But obviously, more times than not, when we kept doing the long balls, the ball kept going to Crewe for them to time waste, basically. But otherwise, my thoughts on him. I think he's vital to the defensive structure of this team, and he's a big part for me why we've kept 3 clean sheets in the last 4, so 7.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, I'd agree exactly with Michael there. I think it's mental the difference a good centre back can make to a team, and we don't have to rely on that Tom Flanagan anymore. Yeah, recently he's been phenomenal. He's been immense. His ability to hoofball it is a bit annoying, but like you said, his positional awareness, his ability to block, his ability to just throw his body on the line is amazing. So yeah, 7.
Yeah. Dennis Serkin, similar to Winchester Michael for me, I think didn't do anything wrong. Got forward better than Winchester did on the other side. So again, probably go to 6.
Yes, as well. Again, he was part of a back three, a back line that kept a clean sheet. To be fair, so it's unfair to give him lower than a 6, but in my opinion, but yeah, I mean, the more he plays, the more confidence he'll get. That's the best I can say for him.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, I'd agree. 6. I do think maybe he does need a rest though. I think he could potentially be a bit burnt out from how much he's played because he's one of the only young players that we've got that's actually not had that ability to rest and mentally recharge. But yeah, yesterday it was solid 6.
He might need to mentally recharge, just to say that, but I think hasn't he been out for injured for like 2 months?
It was, yeah.
Oh yeah, of course he was.
I get what you mean. Mentally, it can be quite draining for him, especially in a team where you expect it to go up. So, to be fair, yeah.
On the side of the back 5/3, however you want to look at it, Jack Clark always looked to get on the ball, but when he did, it was always on his right foot, which when you're playing on the left becomes very predictable. And so many times he got into a good position, and you were just waiting for him to cut back, and he did that quite often. And it's a weird one because he's a player that does like to cut in and maybe come inside to have a shot on his right foot, which if he was to play on the other side, he obviously wouldn't be able to. But at the same time, if you play him on the other side, he can get more crosses into the box, and he's a very good crosser of the ball when he has the space. So it's a weird one. But when the other subs came on, when Dan Neil and Pirate Roberts came on, it gave him a bit more license to kind of roam. Linked well with Roberts for the goal. So I'd probably stick with a 6 for Clark based off the fact that he did improve when the subs came on, Michael.
Yeah, I'd say 6 based off the fact that when the subs came on, he got better, and he obviously got the assist for the second goal. I know it's a pretty straightforward pass, but it's still an assist regardless. I thought he was very, very anonymous in the first half, but as the game got on, he got better. And like I feel the same way, like I said earlier with Patrick Roberts, that I think Clark and Roberts should be playing a massive part in our running if we have a chance of going up.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, I'd agree. I just wish he'd learned to cross on his left foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be a big player coming into the playoffs, and you can see why. He's up there with the Premier League clubs. So yesterday he was quite quiet. He just needs to learn to cross on that left foot.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't do it the same way he did it against Fleetwood. Granted. If
it results in someone stabbing the ball home from short range, I won't complain.
Absolutely,
but it probably won't.
We'll see. Hopefully so. But Luke O'Nien, first game in the starting 11 for God knows how long. And he kind of played in that Pritchard role, I suppose, is the way of putting it. And I, again, don't think he had too much of an impact on the game, but similar to other players, I think that was largely down to the fact that we just never got the ball moving. We never found space, never looked to do anything on the floor. Everything was kind of in the air and just sort of passed him by during the game. But, he was always looking to win the ball back, always looking to get on the ball and keep it moving. So I'd probably just go with a 6, Michael.
See, for me, I would go with a 7. I think of the players that started the game, maybe probably with the exception of Bailey Wright, I think that certainly the ones trying to go forward, I thought O'Nien was by far the pick of the bunch. I thought he was the one. I could see the amount of times he got himself to the left wing, got himself down the centre.
I think the one thing I would say is out in the first half, especially, I think out of the front line, he definitely had the most urgency to get us forward.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. I think he was the only one for me that was actually trying to show for the ball, get into the positions to receive the ball, and the ball just never came to him because no one would pass to him.
Yeah.
I think O'Nien was trying to drive. You could see he was getting frustrated and he was trying to drive the team on. So for me, out of the players that started, I thought he was probably man of the match in that regard. But yeah, for me, a 7, probably pushing on an 8.
Yeah, Dan?
Yeah, I'd agree with Michael. I'd say a 7. It's
Fair enough. Evans.
Forgot about 09 when he was off the pitch and didn't realise the impact that he actually gives. And now that he's here, it's someone we've missed massively over the last couple of months.
And I think you got to kind of remember that is the first game. Like I said, he started in months.
That's why I'd imagine he got taken off because of the fact that you're having to ease him back in. But Dan, remember, 09 just smiles. Apparently, he doesn't do anything else.
Apparently not. Apparently not. Corey Evans, the criticism I had for him against Fleetwood, which I put on Twitter and got a reaction, was the fact he made 8 passes against Fleetwood as part of a midfield too. Granted, he got on the ball a bit more against Crewe, and I think obviously he played twice the amount of time. I think it was like 50 passes or something he made in the game, which is an improvement. But it was very much a kind of stat pad session from Evans, I think, in the game. He looked to get on the ball and just play that pass backwards and sideways. And I think that is literally the type of player he is. And as I said it before, I'll say it again, that is not the type of player that should be starting home games against bottom of the league when you need to win the game, because I think it just nullifies any potential to go forward, to move the ball quickly. When you've got Neil in there, like you saw with a goal, he can get on the ball, you play the ball, he'll make that forward run and get on the end of it. Corey Evans doesn't do that. Just based on how he plays, I don't think he had a bad game, but based on the fact he offered nothing to the game, I'd probably have to go with a 5, Michael.
I'd go with the same thing. My biggest criticism of Evans, I think so many times he shirked responsibility, and I feel like I'm saying that loads of times. Again, the younger players drag him out of the shit. They drag him out of the situations which is what he should be doing the other way around. And in the game, I thought he didn't do anything particularly wrong, but I felt a lot of the time he was just kind of shrugging around. The way I'd describe him is I think he's a poor man's Power, if I'm being honest, because a lot of people accuse Max Power of being sideways and backwards. But I'll tell you what, I do not think for one sec. I think Max Power's comfortably a better player than Evans is. So, yeah. And I agree with you for home games against bottom of the league, home games in maybe Rotherham aside, for any of our remaining home games apart from Rotherham, I would not be starting, or the home leg of the playoff semi-finals if we get there. I would not be starting him because I just think you don't need that sort of player. When we're playing like Gillingham, Shrewsbury, or Cambridge, I'd be disappointed if he's starting.
I'd probably stretch it to away games as well. Off the top of my head, I don't know who we'll have left to play away from home. I think, do we have Plymouth still? Oxford?
We have Plymouth. Yeah. Plymouth and Oxford, I think he could be, I stress could, by the way, I think he could be quite handy in that situation because I think Oxford especially love to get on the front foot. They're the top scorers in the league. So I think we are going to have to try and nullify them a little bit. So I can maybe get it for that game, even though I still think when he does play, I just don't think he takes enough responsibility for me. So I'd say 5.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, same. He's club captain. He doesn't really pick the strings, pull the strings. He doesn't keep this Rolls Royce engine turning. He doesn't tick it over. We don't really know what he does. Nothing ever seems to improve us or help us in any real way. I believe the midfield 3 should be 09, Matete, and Daniel, based on previous performances. So home games, away games, playoff games, cup games, I wouldn't play him. He doesn't contribute what he needs to contribute at this stage of the season, and that's the biggest problem. I can't give any arguments as to why I would start him home or away.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if I'm putting this in the right way, but if Evans was to have a good game, I don't know what that would actually entail for Evans, because I'm not sure what he's actually in the team to do. You could say he's in the team to win the ball back, slow the game down, and do this, that, and the other, but he doesn't even win the ball back when he plays. He doesn't really go in for them challenges. He's not strong enough. He's not quick enough. His passing, even for someone that, never attempts a forward pass, really, he still had a lower pass percentage than most players in the team.
Do you know what? To be fair, mind, with Evans, if I'm going to defend him a little bit, I think that Evans, the best way to use Evans is, for me, when you're leading a game and you're looking to just try and see the game out and just try and coast through it. I think in that scenario, he could actually be quite useful. Yeah. But I reiterate, I didn't understand starting him against bottom of the league at home when we should be the ones dictating and going forward. And for me, 09 is what? I think 4 years younger than Evans. I think 09, A, shows more energy, B, takes more responsibility, and C, shows the leadership, I would say, in the middle of the park that I think Evans should be showing.
Just offers more as well, offensively and defensively.
Agreed.
But anyway, James Teddy, we'll move on to next. I had that one, probably our first effort of the game, really, that ever came to anything in the second half, where he took a touch that at the time I thought, what was that touch? And he ended up beating 3 men with it. Went through on goal, and he tried to kind of just play it under the keeper. The keeper read it and made the save, went out for a corner. But again, just as he always does, works hard, covers everywhere on the pitch, always looking to get on the ball. So I'd probably go with a 7, Michael.
Debating between a 6 or a 7. Yeah, I'll go with a 7. I think probably because I've got Evans out of my head now. Matete, yeah. That run he made when he beat through 2 or 3 players, then ended up getting an amazing run. It's a shame nothing more was made of it, but he didn't have. I think that there were times he gave the ball away a little bit sloppily, but again, to be fair, that's not something to single him out on. The rest of the team did that. But for me, yeah, Matete, like I said, loads of times, I just think he has the energy, he has the dynamism. I can't even talk now. Athleticism in the
You've
midfield.
made a word up there.
Yeah, I think I said athleticism once a few years ago, and it wasn't even a word with a dictionary. But yeah, Matete, to be honest, I think, was it Daniel said, I think, or one of you said that, I think the midfield 3, all I'll say to Matete is Matete, Neil, 09 should be the midfield 3 if we're going for 3. That's it.
Yeah. Dan?
Yeah, we've missed a player like Matete for the past
25 years?
Yeah, exactly. Really missed a player like that, and it's so refreshing just to have someone that does that nitty gritty work, does all the dirty work, and that's exactly what Jay Matete does. And it's mental because now he does all that work that just goes undiscovered and just forgotten about, and it's so vital to it.
Exactly. Sorry to interrupt that. It's people underestimate how big that is in a team. If you have someone that, if you had 11 players that want to just do all the technical, flashy stuff, and no one does the nitty gritty stuff, good luck winning any games. You need someone who's going to do the ugly, gritty side of the game, and if you have someone like that, it allows people to flourish in other positions. So, Dan, sorry, I think you're spot on there. I think people need to realize how important that is in a team.
It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. It's the elbows. It's the fighting. It's the little dirty challenges. The winning the ball back. It's that little Yorkshire Terrier spirit that is really crucial. And this doesn't look good on paper. I mean, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look pretty. But it's the fucking hard work. It's that 150% effort that we've not had in years of watching this club. And it's just so refreshing to have a midfielder like that. And yeah, it might only be a 6 performance because he didn't do much, but he did everything he needed to be able for us to be winning that midfield battle. And that's exactly what he's brought to the team. Him in that midfield allows us to utilize that midfield with the right midfield partnerships in there. We can have such a good midfield knowing that he's there just to cover up and just make sure that all the spills and slips up are dealt with, because he might not have 100% pass accuracy. Yeah, he might give it away, but then he fucking runs back and wins it back. He'll run the whole length of the pitch for a mistake that he makes, which we've not had, and it's just the
best thing I would jump onto that with. I would imagine that with Matete in the team for the Rotherham, Sheffield, Bolton, Portsmouth away games, I would go as far to say this: if he's in that team, we don't get hammered in any of those fixtures.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Yeah, I think you can tell Dan's a fan of Matete.
Yeah,
I'll join him. I'll join the fan.
It's just the attitude that we've not had in years. Like, I can't remember the last midfield partnership where we've had a player like that, even in the Premier League. I can't think of a player that's just had that grit and determination to be that little shithouse that we need, that little person that runs and wins every fucking ball.
I mean, you could argue O'Nien, to be fair.
Not, yeah, you could argue not O'Nien, but it's just not to the same extent at all. O'Nien does what Jay Matete does, but he has the quality as well. It's not like he can make the passes, he can make the runs, he can dictate that play from it's like a deep line midfield. It's something we've just not had.
Yeah. Well, we'll rattle through these last two very quickly, and I don't think it'll take long anyway because they did nothing in the game. But Jermaine 4, 5, Michael, just for multiple reasons, not necessarily down to his own performance, had no impact on the game.
Exactly. Just kept hoofing the ball to him and got frustrated, and that's not Jermaine Defoe's strength. But I do believe he could be crucial in the running, but yesterday was poor, so 5.
Yeah, Dan?
Yeah, I'd agree. And to be fair to him, even though we were playing hoofball for most of the game, he was actually winning the headers against the back four, which I was quite impressed with. So he is crucial, and we're starting to see slightly a bit more of what he can do and how he can dictate the play, the little layoffs that he does. but it was just not his game yesterday.
He gave it a score for the playoff final at Wembley, calling it.
Yeah. Last but not least, Stuart, I'd probably go with a 6. Got the assist, obviously, for Daniel's goal. Good awareness to hold the ball up and, play the pass to him. But again, just didn't really have too much impact on the game as a whole. And once again, that was largely down to the fact that we just didn't play football for 85 minutes. Michael?
Agree, 6. Didn't have an effective game, but at the end of the day, got the important assist, which set us up for 3 points.
Yeah. And last but not least, Dan?
Yeah, I agree. His ability to win the ball in the air is not the greatest for such a big lad. From goal kicks, from hoofing it, etc. He doesn't seem to win it that much, but he always does what he needs to, or as well as he can anyway. So I can't really fault him for much.
Yeah. Man of match, Michael. Go to you first.
Probably for me, Luke O'Nien in the early stages of the game.
That's fair enough. Dan?
Ooh,
He's on the spot here.
I'd probably say Bailey Wright. I think he's the reason we've kept the clean sheet. He's the reason why we've kept clean sheets in the past couple of games. I think, and yesterday, Crewe had a couple of decent chances, and he was there just to break it up. But I'd also give a big shout to Diaku, who came on. I thought when he came on, he changed the game completely. Playing it as wide as he did, he created that space in the midfield to be able to drive into, and he beating his man like he was nothing. And that's the Diaku I know and love.
Yeah. Last question I'll ask you before we get on to the most important question of the episode. Predictions for Saturday's game against Lincoln, I think it is, isn't it?
Yes, it is Lincoln.
Yeah, it is.
Michael first.
2-1 Sunderland. I think we owe them one after they beat us up here. And I think, by the way, just to say, of teams that have beaten us...
Not a Chris Maguire hat-trick this time.
I thought Lincoln were poor. Well, that's the thing. It was the Chris Maguire show, wasn't it? I thought Lincoln were dreadful that night, and we were just even worse. So I think we owe them one. So I'll say 2-1 Sunderland.
Yeah. Dan?
I'll go 3-0.
Sunderland, hopefully?
Yeah, 3-0.
I mean, I prefer yours. It's a clean sheet and extra goals, so that would be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. The most important question. Absolutely and completely off topic. Is there more wheels or doors in the world, Michael?
Wheels or doors in the world? Ooh. I'll say doors because they lead to more opportunities.
I can't deal with people who say doors. Dan, save me. More wheels or more doors?
I am a doors person. I think
Not having this.
You're outnumbered, sorry.
Absolutely not having this. Not at all. Not at all. But anyway, we'll move on from that because that is completely off topic.
The wheels have come off me.
Wheels have absolutely come off in every sense of the phrase. But we'll be back to talk about the Lincoln game next weekend. Obviously, there is no midweek game, which is probably a good thing. Try and get the performances back up to scratch, go back to the drawing board, like has been mentioned a few times. So hopefully see a much better performance and the same result against Lincoln. But we'll be back to talk about that on Sunday next week. But until then, we will see you later.
That's all, folks.